You don't need a degree in animation, or several for that matter, to realize that there's something off about the Assassin's Creed Valhalla animation. Cutscenes that are poorly animated, enemies AI animation that don't function properly, and some odd stuff about the environment animations and effects. As an animation nerd and a fan of the series myself, I couldn't help but think that previous games were better animated. After a little bit of digging and researching, I found that yeah, in some cases, previous Assassin's Creed games were, in fact, better animated. Is Ubisoft evolving backwards? In today's video, let's talk about that, starting with the cutscenes.
I did, indeed.
If after watching some of the cutscenes you're like, man, there's something off, but I can't quite put my finger on it.
Gods, you should have let me start.
Well, let me help you, my friend. Let me introduce you to lip sync techniques in animation. Animators in the past studied the movements of the mouth when we speak or when we sing, and they broke down the movements into a chart called a phoneme mouth chart. That made the difficult task of animating lip sync a lot easier. If you look at old pictures of professional animators, you see that many of them used a mirror. That helped them create believable facial expressions and nail the lip sync in the animations. So let's watch this cutscene and pay attention to the lip sync.
I'm Kurt Vesson. You dare show your face in this hall. Did not King Styrbjörn and his son Sigurd rid our lands of your foulness?
The Raven clan dishonored me, great king. They poisoned my father, Kjotve. They made a mockery of his honorable death. Background, you lie! Hold, Eivor. Let it play out.
The voice actors 100% carry the weight and the emotion of the scene. But the animation...
Background, you lie! Hold, Eivor. Let it play out.
It's just... what? Foulness?
Our lands of your foulness. Foulness.
Now, let's look at AC3. I know, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but let's pay attention to the animation, and more specifically, the mouth movements.
Every day I wait, more will suffer.
Chin up, friend. Many who should have died today now live because of you.
And what of them?
We do the best we can with what we've got.
It is not enough.
It never is.
It's by no means perfect, but man, just the simple fact that they nailed the lip sync, it really brings those characters to life.
It is not enough.
It makes me immersed in the story. And my favorite is this little detail when the character says, "we've got."
The best we can with what we've got.
Look at that little tongue movement.
What we've got.
I absolutely love it. And I don't feel like I'm nitpicking here, man. Just type Assassin's Creed Valhalla cutscenes on YouTube and just pick any cutscene and you see that the lip sync is really a problem. And yes, there's over 23 hours of cutscenes. 23 hours. Like just cut the fat. Give me 10. I'll take 5. Give me 5 hours of really, really polished animated cutscenes, and I'll praise you for the rest of my existence. But please don't just fill me with, oh my god, man, almost a day of cutscenes, and the characters are like, blah, 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 blah.
Belongs to my father. Father.
They've done it almost 10 years ago, dude.
Guilty as charged.
Shouldn't we, as consumers, as fans, expect a bit more from a AAA game? And one last thing on cutscenes. Why does Eivor's hair clip through his neck in every single goddamn cutscene? Come on, man. You know how to do it properly, Ubisoft. Look at this. The hair dangles realistically. Am I supposed to just ignore that?
Today, we shall sail to greener lands.
Yeah!
We will make England our new home.
What the? Is that hair? What's going on with his neck?
Are you ready for it?
This is getting crazy. We better move on. Okay, let's talk about some positive stuff, okay? More specifically, Eivor's in-game animations. They're bold and exaggerated. It's everything I love about animation. In my opinion, if you're gonna animate something, exaggerate the shit out of it. Otherwise, just mocap everything and call it a day. The 10th principle of animation, exaggeration, is very well utilized in his attack movements. Eivor's attack is this dance between slow and fast movements. It's entertaining to watch, and it's important for a game like this, because you're going to be repeating those attacks over and over again for dozens of hours. And in this game, they nailed it. They nailed it! Ubisoft, you've done it. Another bonus is that throughout the game, you find special abilities. And those abilities unlock a whole new set of new animations. Like this, for example. You just jump on an enemy and land this heavy attack. Man, I love it. Just load up that adrenaline in your character. The contrast between slow-mo and a fast attack, it sells the brutality of that movement. Riding horses, riding your boat, raiding a part of the map. Every single one of those animations are striking, they're easy to read on screen, and they're satisfying. I have one complaint though. Two complaints. One is that this little animation plays every time you calls for help when you need to open certain doors. So why is it that his right arm goes inside his body every time he calls for help? Like, man, if it's such an important animation that you're gonna replay over and over again throughout the entirety of your gameplay, can you push his arm a little bit forward? You know what I mean? Just edit. And the second complaint is just goofy. That's personal preference. I feel like I'm gonna be alone on this one, okay? But just hear me out. Why does the arrow sound effect sound like pew? You have this badass, Viking-ass, Nordic god looking ass that obliterates entire armies. And his arrow goes pew.
Yeah!
While we're on the topic of combat, let's talk about enemies' animations. They're fine, but I don't think they were utilized properly in some cases. My biggest issue with their animations is the way they respond to your attacks. Sometimes it feels like the enemies have soap bars tied up to their feet, and every time you hit them like 2 or 3 times, they just skid out of reach. Which is annoying because half of the time in those battles, you're just chasing the enemies. What is this knockback? Sometimes it just feels like I'm playing Smash. Let's go into the nitpicky zone. Things that animation nerds like myself love to complain about. Like, look at the way this guy reacts to my arrows. Like, dude, it feels like I shot you from the right. And look at this guy. It looks like he throws himself off the edge. It's like, dude, why are you throwing yourself off? Now that you've rolled your eyes all the way back into your head, I will just ask you kindly to bring them back forward and pay attention to this animation that plays every single time you kick an enemy off an edge. Why do they get stuck at this 180 degree? Look at Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Whenever an enemy falls off a certain height, the initial momentum of your attack pushes them past that 180 degree angle. It's not a matter of looking realistic, it's just a matter of feeling satisfied with what you're doing in the game. It feels like it's you affecting the game, not the game trying to control what you do. Because this, controlling the way they fall every single time, it just feels like it's my big brother holding my hand. No, this is how they're gonna fall, not this. Let some spontaneity here, okay? Let the game physics play a little bit in your favor, okay? You've done it in the past. It's just, I know, just saying, past the enemy animations, let's move into environment animations. And boy, I'm gonna tell you, it's probably the best thing about this game. The environment is amazing. Everywhere you go feels like you're discovering a new thing. The map is different enough from one part to another that that sense of discovery keeps coming back every single time. Most of the map is this green scenery that is very calming, and it feels lively because it's populated with lots of different animals. I'm talking wolves, deer, foxes, snakes, bobcats, anything that you can imagine. They don't behave the best, you know. Sometimes you see foxes next to rabbits and, you know, wouldn't a fox eat a rabbit? I don't know. I don't work for Nat Geo. I don't know. Depending on where you are, you find this autumn scene full of yellows and orange colors. There's this area with God rays, fog, and this purplish feel to the scene. It's gorgeous, gorgeous. And the water, let's talk about the water.
I want to know who made this water. You didn't hear me? Who the f made this water? You sir deserve a raise. Congratulations, this water, c'est très beautiful.
Whoever is responsible for the water in this game, you made me waste too much time just staring at this water. Man, it's beautiful. The way it reacts to the moonlight, the sunlight, the way it reacts to your boat, the ripples that it creates, the way it reacts to the petals, the way the water reacts to you, it's wonderful. And in this specific location here, I just lost myself staring at the way the water flows. Absolutely amazing. Not everything about the environment is perfect though, obviously. The birds in this game feel like they were animated at 3 frames per second, and I don't understand why they did it. I mean, birds are there pretty much every time you synchronize a new part of the map, and it's pretty close to the camera, so I can see that they look crappy. Speaking of animations close to the camera, let's talk about the fire and smoke in this game, because the animations are smooth or crappy depending on how close you are to those things. Like fire, for example. If you reach a certain threshold of distance, the animation is smooth. But if you walk away a little bit, it goes back to this 3 frames per second look. And same thing happens with the smoke. I remember being on this part of the map and I saw this huge smoke and it piqued my interest. I was like, oh my God, I gotta go there, I gotta explore. I went there and the smoke disappeared. And I was like, all right, I guess it's just a glitch. And as I was walking away, the smoke came back. So it's like the fire, depending on how close or how far you are from that thing, the animations is either gonna be really cool or disappear in the case of smoke. Now for your enjoyment, let's look at more glitches in the animes. Like this guy who pretends to eat bread and throws it under the table. Or this lady's chain that's stretched like rubber. Or her blood textures that stay static even though her hands are moving. Or the fact that she eats meat through her right eye. What the f***? These game designers read too much Uzumaki. Like look at this other lady. Her hair has a life of its own. It reminds me of a manga again. Wait a second. Oh my God. Ubisoft is Uzumaki confirmed. I'm gonna go against the grain here. I'm gonna say that Assassin's Creed is a banger. The animations are like disappointing, especially considering the fact that they've done it right in the past. So Ubisoft, don't evolve backwards. Improve upon what you've done. Like me and my new channel and new content. Let's see how you guys are responding.